Welcome to Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins. Let's Get Into It is a safe space to have real conversations that are meant to uplift, encourage, and let you know you are not the only one dealing with life. Each episode of Let's Get Into It is designed to provide illuminating and thought-provoking information on a variety of topics. In fact, no topic is off limit. If you would like to see a topic discussed, please feel free to make a recommendation. My special guest and I will have a great time discussing topics that the mainstream media wouldn't dare discuss. We will bring these conversations to you with an open mind, respectfully, from different perspectives, and most importantly, with love. Thank you for joining me and my special guest. Now, let's get into it. Well, hello. I am Sherelle Higgins, and this is Let's Get Into It. This past weekend was Memorial Day weekend where we, took some time to think about our fallen soldiers. My dad is a veteran, and so the military has a special place in my heart. But before I get this show started, I wanted to talk about the importance of family. Family is so important, and it should be a great time when family get together to celebrate one another. So this past weekend on Friday, we gave my baby sister a surprise birthday party. I'm sorry, not birthday party, a surprise bridal shower because she is getting married on July 20th. And so we surprised her. She was a lot of work getting her to this bridal shower with this bridal shower outfit on. She asked me a million questions throughout the day. Our mom was in town and she was trying to get over to my house to see our mother. And when I tell you all, I had to tell so many fibs on Friday that I have used up all the fibs for the rest of the year. I cannot tell another fib this year. And so when she finally got there, we had such a great time. She was so happy. It was such a joyous occasion that we just really, really enjoyed it. And then we rolled over to Saturday. We had a pool party for my dad because my dad turned 80 years old and he was adamant that he wanted us to give him an 80th birthday party in Maryland. So we had it at my sister's house and everything was so wonderful. He had a great time. He enjoyed having most of his daughters here and just really like friends and, extended family members come. And so he really had a great time. And during the 80th birthday party, my daughter was proposed to. And so that was an awesome thing. And so her fiance was working my nerves for the last couple of months. He was so nervous about asking her to marry him. And they've been together for 5 years. So I don't know why he was nervous about it, but he was. And he had he kept worrying me, sending me text messages, asking me where he should hide the ring so that she doesn't find it, asking me all kinds of questions. When should he do it? And I was like, of course you have to do it when her family's here. And so the family came from Chicago. So it was just a great weekend for us to all get together and celebrate these occasions. So during the 80th birthday party, I had my daughter's fiance go and talk to my father and ask my father if he was okay with with him proposing to my daughter at his 80th birthday celebration. Because what we didn't want to do is just infringe on his time. And I knew my father would be okay with it, and he was. And so just having the DJ play Let's Get Married by Jagged Edge and setting it all up, it was just such a beautiful thing. It was tears everywhere. And some of my sisters were in their feelings because I kept a secret. I did not tell them that this was going down on Saturday, but they got over it. And so we are just so excited. We had such a great weekend. On Sunday, my husband and I hosted the entire family at our house for a cookout. And so we just had a fabulous weekend. And then on Monday, people started rolling out. I was exhausted. And so here we are. So on Wednesday, my husband and I needed a vacation. So I am actually coming to you live from Providence, Rhode Island. Gonna be here for a few days, just hanging out. You know, we've never been to this part of the country before, so we are just kicking it. I see some of my sisters on. Hey, sisters. And so here we are. So I wanted to talk about family because my guests that I have today, they know all about family. Not only do they know about family, they know about raising kids, and I must say, some awesome kids at that. They know about being married for 25 years. They are also both in the Army. And so, therefore, they are lieutenant colonels. And when I bring them on, Leslie is also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. So she is my sister Sharon Soror. So I'm just so excited today, y'all. I can't wait. So I am going to bring them on and let you all meet them. And they are in their cars, y'all. When you hear their stories, you're gonna understand why they had to do this show from their car. But it's all good. But let me tell you a little bit more about them. They are Lieutenant Colonels Herbert and Latimore-Lorfils. They are the embodiment of a powerhouse couple, balancing exceptional careers and a vibrant family life with their, pay attention, listen closely, with their 12 children. I'm going to say that one more time. 12 children. Herbert originally is from Miami, Florida, by way of Haiti, and Leslie is coming to us from Washington, D.C. They both have served their country with distinction, amassing over 60 years of combined military service. Herbert is a skilled medical logistician and is set to retire. Come on, join the retirement world in December of 2024, while Leslie, an accomplished HR executive, will retire in May of 2025. Come on, join this retirement world, Leslie. Their unwavering dedication to their careers and family underscores their remarkable journey together. So, welcome to Let's Get Into It.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Good.
Thank you.
So, I had to tell Herbert that he is not going to be quiet during this segment. So, I'm going to kick it off the first question to Herbert. Herbert, talk to me about being married for 25 years. What has that meant for you?
Being married for 25 years, what have that meant for me? Well, I've been serving the military for 34 years. So in the military, they tell you you are your success story, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning, what you have accomplished during the military, promotion that you get in the military. But to me, I've always told my wife, I want to get to the highest rank I can while being married. So we've reached the goal of 25 years and counting. So that tells me that meant a lot to me, because I made that my personal goal is to stay married to that one young lady that that's called Leslie.
Yes. And Leslie, what has being married for 25 years meant to you?
Oh man. One and done. It's so interesting. I was listening to our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, and essentially I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and she was saying how people are not really ready for the real part of marriage, and that for 10 years it wasn't always unicorn and roses, basically, but if she had 20 years of greatness, she would take those odds every time. And so for me, when I heard that today, I thought that is so good. You know, it's more than dresses and the dope weddings and the proposal and all of that. But it's just being able to hang in there with that one person that is your person, and being able to endure all things, and to still really like that person after nearly, for us, nearly 3 decades. You know, I even like watch you and your husband. I know y'all, I think y'all went to Virginia State like 1984 or something, if my
Come on
memory
now. Yeah. Well,
serves me right.
he was
Something
already
like
there
that.
because he was robbing the cradle. I came in '84. He was already there.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. But just watching you all, like, and other people that we know, I say, you know what? That's what I want. Longevity, and still be youthful and vibrant, and being able to watch our children, and for our children to be able to set an example for them, you know, and to be that story when people are like, oh my God, y'all been married for 50 years, you know, and
Right.
tell me the stories. And to be able to have real good, healthy stories to tell, not just the grim ones that people always hear about.
Yes, absolutely. As you know, I've been married 32 years. It'll be 33 years in September, and we've been together 40 years, so 4 decades, and
Wow.
that's a
Wow.
long time. And for our generation, it's just really unheard of. And people think, like you and Michelle said, right? Former First Lady Michelle Obama has said it's not always going to be peaches and cream, right? There's going to be days that it just ain't vibing, and that's okay too, as long as you have more days vibing than not. Then
Hmm.
that's how it happens. So Herbert, tell me what it was about Leslie, because one of the things I've heard people say is men know as soon as they meet a woman that she's going to be his wife. So how did you know Leslie was going to be your wife?
Well, for me, it's just like getting that path. I can't tell you if it was a spirit that came upon me when I saw her. I just realized when I just laid eyes on her, it was weird. I told my buddies, I'm like, that's my wife. They looked at me funny. I've never said that. I've dated these ladies, young ladies before her, but I never used those words. So it's just a feeling that God gives you, tell you that, hey, when you find a wife, you find a good thing.
Yes.
So I, I can't. I always tell my daughters, I'm like, you don't have to rush. You don't have to ask a man, do he loves you? He will show you that by
Oh,
his
come on
actions.
now.
So I knew
Yeah.
just by looking at that girl, but it was some physical attractions there too for me. That's a different story that I can share later on. But I just knew she was the one
keep,
when I
keep
Okay.
it
when I
rated
when I
G.
looked at her.
And Leslie, how did you know Herbert was the one?
Well, I did not know he was the one at first. My side was a little different. um, so it's so funny because one of my good girlfriends, I had noticed him or whatever, and when I saw him, I was like, oh, like he's the life of the party or what have you. And we had, at our school where we met, it was like, certain amount of black people. And I was like, why is he talking to all these other black folks and he hasn't said nothing to me and my friend? Like, what's up with that? And then I needed something, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm sure that guy, he knows, this information that I need. So I went over and asked him about this information, and I thought, oh, he seems like a nice guy. And then from there, he took me to get the information, and we started chatting, and realized that our lives were like parallel to each other. And I was like, this is interesting. And then it just kind of went from there. But I remember him telling me, as we learned about each other's lives and stuff like that, and I had kind of went through some interesting relationships. He's like, well, I'm gonna make you forget about all of them. And I was like, oh, you're cocky. Like, you think you'll be able to do that? And he did. And I think he caught me at a time where it's like God know what you need when you need it,
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And I remember leaving Virginia State, and I believe Major Cradle then at the time, because he was my cadre. I remember them telling me, now Cadet Latimore don't go to OBC and get married. I'm like, who gonna do that? So I had to eat my words because what did I do?
Go there and get married.
So yeah, and I had a real conversation with my then boyfriend then, but I told my now husband at that time when things seemed like they were getting serious. I said, the next man that I am intimate with will be my husband, because I knew that at that stage of my life, I had, even when I bought my car, it was a green 1998 Honda Accord. I said my car has enough room for a husband and three children, not knowing, no idea, but that's how my mind was processing. It was almost like God was kind of prepping me without me knowing he was prepping me. And my husband would tell you, he
Okay.
shared that with my children, that, hey, your mom said that to me, because I wanted it to be a respectful type of courtship. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a link in the chain or anything like that. Not saying he was going to treat me that way, but I wanted it to be clear for me, and I wanted to set those boundaries early. And that's probably something that I would share with young ladies in particular, and my husband can speak to that because we have these conversations. And it's something, what's his name, babe? Kevin
Samuel.
Samuel says that men control the relationship, women controls the intimacy.
Mm. Come on.
That's true. So young women need to learn early how sacred you really are, and that you are a present. Nobody wants a present that's been opened and used,
Mm.
right? And
Right.
so cherish that. And for young men, like we tell our boys, be respectful and be honorable, and cherish that present. And so that's kind of how my mind was way back then. And I don't think, like, hindsight, God was already prepping me for my husband, I believe.
Okay. So Herbert, tell me why you decided to join the military.
You said what? Why did I decided to join the military?
Yes.
Um, I am from a immigrant family. My both my mom and dad are from Haiti, so I saw their struggles. In my mind, when you uh, turn 18 years old, right? Um, you need to find your nest, right? You need to leave the house like a bird. So I studied the military and realized, hey, you know what? I can learn something. They can pay me. I have a place to sleep and get an education. Join the military by getting a GI Bill to get an education. That's my ultimate goal. So my ultimate goal was to leave the house when I turned a certain age, because I felt like I needed to do something with myself. Because as immigrants, you come here to better your life. My dad told me when I was 8 years old, he said, if I didn't want you to do something with yourself, you could have stayed in Haiti and become farmers and eat and then passed away in that country. And as you know, the country right now is in a horrible state. So I remember those words. So I was pushed by his setting the example, the sacrifice that they made coming to this country. It's not easy, not having money. And then now I'm here, this plethora of opportunity to do well. But again, as 18-year-old, you don't have anything. But the military offered you sort of security blanket, and also they offer you opportunity to go to college by giving you the GI Bill. So those were the reasons why I decided to join the military.
Okay. And do you have any siblings?
Yes, I'm the oldest of six. There's
Oh, okay. And
I
what's
have I have two sisters and three other brothers.
okay? And Leslie, what made you join the military?
Major Cradle. So my freshman year, they came, they spoke to me, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a girly girl, and I'm not wearing that green, whatever that stuff y'all wear, and I'm not shooting guns, and I'm not playing in dirt. I'm not interested. No, thank you. And then they came my sophomore year, and they said, well, we're coming again. I was like, I told y'all last year I don't want to do that. Well, we're gonna send you to camp. We're gonna pay you $700, and you'll go to camp for 6 weeks. Y'all gonna pay me $700 to go to camp for 6 weeks? You're gonna pay me over $100 a week to go to a camp? Sure, I'll go to your camp. Haven't looked back. Haven't looked back. Went to basic camp in 95, fell in love. I loved leading troops and just the whole idea of leadership and having some discipline. And then that was extra scholarship money because I was already there on a full ride. So that was
Oh,
extra money
okay.
in my pocket. And then made history while I was there in ROTC. I was the first female detachment commander at St. Paul's College, a detachment, of course, of Virginia State University. So I had a very successful ROTC career and great experience, and probably the best decision I could have made, and would do it over and over and over again.
Okay.
Glad I did it.
And do you have any siblings?
I have two younger brothers
Oh, okay.
on my dad's side. So my younger brother, he's 30, about to be 30. I'm 48, so he's 37. And then my baby brother is 34.
Okay. All
So
right.
yeah,
So
some years in between.
okay,
Mhm.
so let's talk about the journey to the 12. So when you all got married and decided to have children, did you know that you wanted to have a large family?
Well, apparently, somewhere in various circles, I said, I remember telling Herb that I would have like 10 of his children at some point. But apparently, well before I met him, that I even knew he existed, I told people that I wanted at least 10 kids.
Mm.
Now, though I have two younger brothers, I was raised majority of my life as an only child. My mom's only child. So that was my life. I identify as an only child. So a lot of times I wish I had like siblings that I was raised with, and cause I didn't see my brothers really. So a lot of lonely days sometimes, and I just wanted someone to play with, and so my friendships, my sister girls, I hold them tight, type thing. But yeah, who knew that I would end up with a
And
dozen?
so, and Herbert, did you know you wanted a large family?
I didn't have a number. I did not have a number in my mind. I grew up with five other siblings, so I knew what a large family felt like. So when I did, Leslie told you, when I did tell her I was going to make her the happiest woman in the world, in my mind, every time we said we were going to have another one, I said, can we afford he or she? Are we be okay? So every 2 years, those questions would come up, and we would just kept adding healthy children, and then we came up with the number 12. She would always tell me, "Well, welcome."
So what made you stop
But
at 12?
Um,
be 68 when our youngest is 18.
yeah.
I think it's time for us to kind of like house. But however, we haven't taken any precautions as a couple. If God bless us with two more,
Yeah, he keeps saying that. But
um,
listen, to his
then
point though, what you about to say?
we haven't taken any precautions. We've been blessed with healthy children. We've had miscarriages, but 12 is a nice round number in my mind, and we love watching them become success stories. We have
Yeah.
lieutenants, we have future vet doctors, we have NFL potential football players, we have all kind of outstanding young adults that are not always outstanding every day, but they're doing well. So the number 12, we didn't come up with that, but that's where we are right now, currently. I say currently.
Now notice the baby who's 5. We did name him Caboose.
Yeah.
Yo, you did.
It's so interesting. We were in Miami. We were in Miami, to his point. We were in Miami just a few days ago, and his brother, he just had his daughter. She's 1. And we were sitting on the beach, and I was getting ready to like get in the sand with my kids. And he came and he handed me my niece. And in my head, I thought, wait a minute. my baby's 5. I don't know. I forgot what this is like. But in the moment, I was like, oh, I don't know. This is so new to me now because my baby is 5. He can run. He's independent. Yeah, I kind of like had a moment. Like I have a taste of freedom.
So let's talk about how you navigate having successful military careers and navigate 12 children. How do you manage that?
Hmm. Mm.
Oh,
You want to talk first?
It takes a village. When I mean a village, between us and church community, neighbors, friends that we've connected with, that is the only way. God knows that when they were younger, they need more attention. Sometimes this is why I have no hair. I don't know how we did it. To be honest with you, if we didn't have good friends and people that and God's blessing and grace, I don't have. There's no written example or statement I can tell you of how we did it, because we didn't do it on our own. We did it with faith. We did it with community, and we just believe. And then communication between the both of us. Because if we didn't, like I've had to learn to cook, to do hair when she's not around. I'm not perfect at those things yet, but I try. My daughter now, who's 24, she remembered when I was doing her hair. My wife was deployed. She remembered that. So it just takes a lot of communication and patience. Oh my goodness, patience and understanding that you in the moment of the stress and not to allow that to take you over the top. Because those are things that I'm learning more and more every day, and then to remember why I got married, and why I said to you that I wanted to be successful in my career by having my wife and my children when I'm getting ready to retire, watching the ceremony without them not being away from it. So I had to remind myself when those moments came that I wasn't happy with, issues or military issues, to just go through the moment or make a phone call with the community or the village that would support us as we took care of that moment. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
And Leslie, yes, definitely. Leslie, how old are their children? I'm
So
going to
our
test your
grown
skills.
we have growns, bigs, middles, littles, tinies. Those are categories. Our growns are the people that are out the house. So they are 28, 25, 24, 22, 20. Then we have our bigs. They are 18, 16. Then we have our middles. They are 14 and almost 12. Then we have our littles. They are 9 and one's getting ready to be 7. And then I have my tiny. He's 5. And then the baby that just turned 5. So those are the categories.
Okay.
We have a couple of
I
birthdays
love
that's
those
still pending.
categories.
Yeah, we
I
had a couple
love
of
those
birthdays still
categories.
pending.
And so,
But
Leslie, I'm going to ask you the same question. How do you, with you all being in the military and having to deal with deployments,
mhm.
how did you manage when Herb was deployed and you were home with the kids?
So in 2006 is when we got our first nanny. And I don't think Herb was sold to it fully at first. I think I kind of convinced him after a while. And then after a while, it was like, okay, this seems to work. And we haven't used daycare since. We actually was able to get more bang for our buck. And you have to vet. We had some great ones, then we had not so great ones, right? So it's just kind of ebbs and flows. But that was extremely helpful, particularly when he was deployed. But like he was saying, we've been blessed to have such a wonderful community of people between church, sorority sisters, friends. And once people figure out that you have so many children, folks just wanted to help. And then I was able to meet a lot of stay-at-home moms that would, particularly when he was deployed, because I think if you add Herbert's time up when he was away, it probably totaled about 5 years collectively, not at one time, but
Mm-hmm.
total. That helps me out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, we're really big on empowering our kids. So if you were old enough to hold a dustpan, you did that. So as a 2-year old, you hold the dustpan. Come here, 4-year old, with the broom. Sweep the trash in the dustpan. Okay, 2-year old, pour the trash in the trash can. 6-year old, go grab the toys and pick them up. Like, I would empower them to help mom clean the house because I knew I couldn't do it by myself, or I would be pulling out my hair. So that was a big thing, teaching them responsibility young. Now, fast forward though, and this is for any parents that's listening, we did we didn't know it necessarily then with the first batch, I like to call them. We figured it out more with the second batch now. But we were more careful to not give too much burden to the older ones because we don't want to inadvertently rob them of their childhood by having them help so much. Our older ones, they're very honest. Like, oh, mom, be careful when you do that with so and so because when I was that age, I remember feeling like it was a lie. I'm like, oh, so sorry. Thank you for letting us know. So that is something to be cognizant of
Mm-hmm.
when you do have a bunch of kids, to not put too much on them. But we just were blessed to have a lot of people that would rally around us to help us out. But we're really big on, you're old enough to help do it. Okay, you older ones, you want to eat? Great. Fix your sibling a plate real quick, and then fix your plate. Mommy needed 5 minutes of time out and sit for a second. So that's kind of how we manage. And then as far as when we're together,
That's
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
And as far as when we're together, a recent post that I just made that I saw, people were saying about, okay, when you get together, it's 50-50. Well, that's not how he and I have ever done it. Sometimes it's 90-10, 70-30, 60-40, 20-80, but it's a 100% effort. It just depends on what's happening, what season we're in. Herbert will I'll tell you, 99% of the time, he lets me sleep in the morning. He knows I got to drive the Belvoir, that my drive is horrible right now. So he gets up with them in the morning and allows me to sleep as long as I can sleep. And I don't have to worry with it. There may be another season where I may be the one to get up and let him sleep or whatever. So it just depends on whatever is going on. Whoever can get it done, we just get it done. We don't have necessarily gender roles in the house where you're the woman, so you wash the dishes. No, if the dishes got to be washed, the trash got to go out, whoever can jump to it and get to it. And then we have the kids, everybody help out. Does it run perfectly all the time? No.
Okay.
Sometimes Herbert and I are looking at the kids sideways, like, y'all gonna take this trash out? Why y'all sitting here playing on a video game? I need you to take this trash out. What? But we just try to do it together so that it's a big collective family effort because we all have to live in the house. So that's how we make it
Right.
work. Mm-hmm.
And so, Herb, when you were growing up, being the oldest child, did you have responsibilities around the house, or what was that like for you? Did you have to take care of your younger siblings?
Um, being the oldest of a Haitian immigrant parents gives me total, 100% responsibility of my siblings. My mom believed um,
Mm.
that I had to set the example for my siblings. Um, if I needed to have good grades, I needed to be well behaved, so then they can see from me as the oldest the way to be. It didn't always come out that way,
Mhm.
but that is the example that my parents held me accountable when they didn't do right. So I try to avoid that with my children because it's I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but it made me who I am today. But I didn't like having that much responsibility on me as a child. But it made me become who I am today. So yes, I had to make sure that they cleaned up. Had to make sure that they did their chores. Make sure they did homework. Make sure that the house was presentable before my mom showed up. If it didn't happen, I was the one that got punished.
Mm. Okay, so let's pivot to holiday seasons and birthdays.
Mhm.
How do you all manage Christmas?
For me, I'm the one that gets the early gifts, the gifts. We start looking for gifts early, uh, to prepare for that day because it's 12 of them. Um, the oldest one we get money, but the younger ones we give them, just simple. But that's how we best prepare for that holiday. And then for birthdays, I know Leslie's better at that. We sometimes have a group, depending on the age of the kids' birthdays. Because this month there's four of them that celebrated the birthdays, and then the 1st of June is another one. Then July there's another one. So there's six children within the next 3 months that will have birthdays that we need to prepare for. So they each will receive their gifts on that day, but then the big celebration will be combined where we have something for them combined. The younger ones will have something simple, or a pool or something like that, but the older ones will bring friends, will have dinner or something like that. But I remember one time we had a huge celebration where we had a game truck,
Game truck. Mm-hmm.
and set it up. It was just like the whole community came to that celebration. But we try to combine it when they want it to be combined. Uh, but we usually give them their gifts the day of to make sure that you know, they feel special on that day the best we can.
Hmm. So, are there any months where there's nobody's birthday? I mean, because when you add in 12 kids plus the two of y'all,
The
it's
only
probably like,
the only
January, February, March, and April.
the only month we don't have is what you just said. January, February,
okay, say
March,
that again, Leslie. What months are those?
January, February, March, and April. March is my birthday, so no kids were born on those on those days. January, February, March.
Oh, that's interesting. The first 4 months of the year, none of the kids' birthday. Oh, that's
Yep.
interesting.
September's anniversary time. Hint, hint.
What day is your anniversary?
September 14th.
September.
Okay. I was just the 21st, so we're a week later.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh, that is really interesting. So, uh, I know you said that you give the kids responsibilities around the house, and that helps. But I follow you on social media, and I see that your kids are doing extremely well, and have all kinds of accomplishments and accolades. And so, what do you contribute that to? Because usually, even if you just have two kids, one is really gonna be like the one that's gonna like test your gangster. Um, and so, how were you able to um, like get them all to a point where they are thriving?
It well, let me lead this one. First of all, let me say this. I think the adults of our children were a lot easier, in my opinion. I don't know if ladies can agree with that or not.
Yeah, I agree.
There's different generations. We're raising generations in our home, and they are different. You know, the ones that are out the house right now would tell us, "Wait, you guys get away with that? We can do."
Mm-hmm.
So that's I wanted to put that plug in. One thing we told them, and I think part of it is because we beginnings. You know, my immigrant background, Leslie, and being raised by a single mom, we saw how they struggled, right? And what we told our children is, listen, our parents got us here through hard work. Now we're here, okay? What we have is our accomplishment. You have to build yours, right? So we we told them once they reach ninth grade, that is the start of your adulthood. We told them ninth grade and beyond is
Mm,
your adulthood. So they all get that speech when they graduate eighth grade, right? So when you hit the ninth grade, you start preparing for college or the military, whatever it is you're trying to do, you will be out the house. You turn 18, you need to be prepared to start adulting, right? We will support you as you go through that process, but you're going to set yourself for success through education. Someone play good in sports, some good in playing an instrument, especially is good in getting them in doing that. We always told them this is what you need to do. We have earned what we have got through our parents' hard work. You will earn yours through our hard work and your hard work. So we push them to be independent and to start working on what it is that God has for them in their future. You know, like our daughter that's a lieutenant now. We didn't see her join the military. She's a little, like her mom, cheerleader. You know, very prissy. Now this girl is dealing with bombs and she is leading soldiers. I mean, we didn't see that. You know, and now we have another one that's a senior and all kind of MT. She's gonna be a vet. We didn't see her either. But we don't know what the kids are seeing when they watch your example. You know, you can speak it all day, but if you're not actually walking, like one thing we say, make sure your visual match your audio. You know, what you're saying matches what you're doing. So I believe that now we're not perfect all day, but I know we've done enough showing them how hard work is for them to glean from that, and then now they're taking it, and then they can go ahead and run and do great things. So yeah, you can add more to that, but that's how we've managed to help them get to where they are now.
Okay, and Leslie, let me ask you this. So, Herb just said something very important, and this is something I truly believe, and that is as a woman and as a wife and as a professional, we model how our daughters should be treated by men that we're with. We also model for our sons how they should treat women based on how they see their fathers treating their mothers. So, how important is that modeling of the behavior for you as a wife and a mother and a professional?
Oh my gosh, it's critically important. Our kids, just like we're very public on our pages, purposefully, because we need people to include our children to understand what real looks like. They've seen every season of our marriage, right? The ups, the downs, the good, the not so good. But in speaking with one daughter today, I said to her, if you've seen nothing else, you know what resilience looks like, and you know what and what not to do. She said to me today, she said, Mom, I'm so glad I have both of my parents. This was just today, maybe 3-4 hours ago. I'm so glad I have both of my parents because I can see what to do and what not to do. She was having a conversation with one of her guy friends. And so, to your point and to your question, what I model and what her dad models is critically important because they are watching. And when they are away from us and they're seeing experiences with other people, and now they're in a place where they're like, that doesn't really compute very well. They can go back and reference, well, I didn't see my dad do that with my mom, or I didn't see my mom accept that from my dad, or whatever. It is vitally important. And for parents that are listening, if you believe that your children don't know or don't see, don't be fooled by that. They may not
Mm.
ever say a word to you in the moment, but I promise you, it's like a boomerang. It will come back one way or the other. Oftentimes, our kids will come back and remind us, oh, you know what? When you did XYZ 5 years ago, we remember. We're like, oh, wow. And most times, I'm so
I
glad and I'm
always
so
say it wasn't
grateful.
me.
Huh? You say you're gonna
I
move?
always tell my kids it wasn't me. I didn't do that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
And I told my daughter too. And I also said because we all fall short, and this is the part that kind of is a peeve of mine, particularly in our community. Don't get sold to the illusion of this disease called perfectionism because none of us are perfect. If
Mm,
you fall short
right.
somewhere, own the short. Own the short, apologize for the short, and learn from the short. Your kids will respect you better. They will appreciate it more because when they get out here, guess what? They're going to have to own a short. Hmm? So if you show them, oh, I messed up here, My bad. Here's how we can fix it. Learn from it. Thank you for loving mom and dad through whatever. That when they have their stuff, they're like, oh, yep, we saw mom and dad. Oh, you know what? That's how they overcame that. I remember when they said, oh, yeah, they apologized for that thing. Okay, that's what I'm going to do with my kids when I fall short. So we can learn to own stuff and realize we're still human. We're going to mess up. It's okay to mess up, but it's okay to fix it. If we could just get there, we would be all right.
Right.
That's why this whole social media thing, like, stop it. Just be real for once. It's so freeing.
You know, the, the other big thing is these
Yeah.
children, these children now are so much smarter than we could ever have thought about. You know,
Oh
they are
yeah.
they are beyond what we could even think of. Two events that happened to us that, to me personally, I know my wife can share some things. Our 29-year-old, the Marine, oh man, he tested our gangster uh, at night. Yesterday, you know, one thing he said to us coming back when he's an adult now. He says, you know what? You don't think you never thought I was listening? I was. You never gave up on me. And he came back and said, thank you so much for that. And this is the thing that as parents is we want that instant microwave reaction. You said it, they're going to react to it in a positive way. It's not always that way. This is where the patience and the grace that God gives us every day
Mm.
gives to our children, right?
Mm.
That's the one of the things I remember. And the other thing to my daughter Jessica, we're on our way to church, and just celebrated Mother's Day, or going to celebrate Mother's Day, and I made a comment. I said, you know what? It's so funny when Father's Day comes, these single mothers want to say, I'm a father, right? Celebrate, give them that title. And I said, Jessica, that doesn't make any sense to me. She said, why not, Dad? You know, you know, she she said, I said, wait, all of that you're saying to me is correct. I said, why do you give her a pass and put all the responsibility on him? Now, I'm not saying him not taking care of his children, i.e., the example I'm giving him a pass. What I'm saying to you as a young lady, understand, like my wife said earlier, you control the sex and we control the relationship. I said, if you understand the power you have in allowing someone to get into your womb, then you need to vet that individual before you allow him to impregnate you. Now, he's no good. But hey, who shares that responsibility? He does, she does. I said, you need to remember that when someone come into your space and says, I got a six pack, you know, I'm 6'2". I said, none of that pays the bill.
None
None
of
of
it.
Come on.
None of that makes sure the lights are on. None of that makes sure you pay mortgage or your rent. I said, I'm teaching you to understand that what you see with your eye and handsome young man, if they don't have nothing to back that up, you need to go to the left. I said, this is why when you guys get into this echo chamber and you start saying these men are bad, I say, yeah, they probably are, but you own responsibility too. Because you allow him to be in your space, and it takes two, not one. So these
Absolutely.
examples, you got to have that real conversation with them. And I remember I don't remember having that with my parents. What they said is what they said. Nowadays, you have to understand, raising very intelligent children. Social media does not help you. And I share that with her, and she shares that with her friends and her friends. I don't know who's in their space, and that is part of my
Mhm.
responsibility as a father to teach my daughter, you know, hey, yeah, it's okay to have that. Hey, he looks nice, but understand that you as a woman carries that burden of giving birth and getting pregnant. And the only way you can do that is by laying down with a young man. Be careful with that. That's why I don't believe it's fair when a young lady is saying, well, I'm both father and mother. When you're not. It took two of y'all. So if you have that mindset, then you understand when he comes, the knucklehead comes in your space, you know how to give him the Heisman.
The Heisman.
So So let me ask you this, Leslie, because it's always interesting for women in the workplace, particularly now. I've never been in the military, but I can only imagine how has having 12 children stressed your career?
Uh, I, as I head into retirement, I am pretty positive it probably cost me the next rank in some instances, and I'm okay with it
Mm-hmm.
because I always knew I would never forget. We were second lieutenants, and I remember I think I was working till like 8, 9 o'clock at night, late, and my husband said, "Babe, we don't see you." And I was like, I was getting ready to start a horrible, horrible habit
Mm-hmm.
as a baby officer, and I was like, "Nope." So that has stuck with me for 20 something years. So fast forward, when I go to my places of business, I make it very clear my family will always be number one. If I have a child that's sick, if I have to get to something, if I have to take leave, whatever it is I need to do, the family will always be number one. Now, that's not to say there will ever be a dereliction of my duty. Absolutely not. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier all day, every day. But I also know that there's underlining currents because I was even asked by a previous boss before, well, can you run as fast as your peers? Meaning, can I do my job like my peers? Really, I could have had that person hosed back then. I was a captain. Like, how dare you ask me that? That is so like inappropriate. My response was, well, sir, not only can I run with them, more than likely I can probably outrun them because I have a better understanding of time management,
Mm-hmm.
self-management, because of the amount of children that I have and because of the many things that I have to manage. And I can say this publicly, and I would say it over and over again. Stack my file and everything that I do against some generals. I've worked for senior people and I get it all the time. I don't know how you and Laura Fields do it. I don't know how you all do it with 12 children. I wouldn't be able to do it because my wife goes to the commissary because my spouse does XYZ. There are things I don't have to worry about. So I don't, I can say it confidently, and I'm not being arrogant, but I'm being very factual when I say that. As I head to the next chapter, oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Do I look excited?
Yes.
As I head to the next chapter, I said boldly that I am so super proud of that man that I'm married to with our 12 children. We're headed out as two highly successful senior military officers with our marriage intact, with our children intact, who are all doing very well. And we're headed on to the next chapter, which is going to be the best chapter. We
Oh, come
know
on now.
senior people that, yeah, you made it to colonel, general, all the things. Some have divorced. Some are going through divorces. Some have children that don't even talk to them. Oh, I can name so many different types of scenarios that we don't have to deal with. I will keep my lieutenant colonel pay, retirement pay, thank you, with my husband and my children and my successful career as we go and build this massive empire. Yes, to God, amen. But yeah, it's been some interesting commentary in terms of they're having another one. Well, yeah, that's what married people do. Yes. And we'll come back and take a PT test early during postpartum. Would
Uh-oh.
teach postpartum PT. Oh yeah. Yes. All the things. Yeah. But I also realized that a lot of people will have commentary because they can't. And
Right.
I've realized that. And I'm cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
I wear it with a badge of honor. Yes, I do.
I know
Military
that's
dual
right.
mom of 12. Ha!
I know that's right. Come on now. And so, Herb, with you, typically in the workplace, uh, men don't have to engage in these kinds of conversations because nobody typically approach men from that type of perspective and say, how are you going to do your job while you have 12 children? Have you had that experience in the workplace?
No, the military is very conservative. It's a conservative organization. Number one, When you think about a spouse in the military, you don't think about dual military spouse. It's always the man that's in the military and then the female that's at home doing the
Hmm.
traditional housework or house responsibilities, the home responsibilities. So no, I have never had that, but I've had one of my wife's bosses. I forgot his name, but he's an '06 that kind of contacted me when he was complaining about my wife to me, and I've had to check him because he has a wife that's at home, and he didn't understand how to deal with a professional woman in the workplace. In 2023, 2022, it is
Mm.
happening. So for me, no one asked me those questions that my wife had even been asked of her. Uh, but they know we're dual military. But for some reason, I get a pass, but I've deployed more, or we made sure that someone was stable in the home. We only had a deployment uh, with both of us going out of the home once. She went to Afghanistan before for 6 months. She came back for 2 weeks, and then I
And
went
how,
to
Leslie, how long did that deployment last?
Mine was 6 months, and then I came home, and 2 weeks later he left.
Okay.
yeah. So we
Okay. But
I
other than that, y'all were able to pretty much one of the other was home with
Was
the kid.
home.
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
that was the
So,
blessing. That was the blessing throughout our career that we wasn't forced as a team to be going to these different assignments or auxiliary places. But hey, you know, it wasn't great always because I spent a year in Korea away from my family. I spent 15 months in Iraq away from my family. I spent multiple other deployments from Qatar to Afghanistan, Iraq twice, Kuwait. So it was something that I believe God had His hand on His family because we didn't have any chance to plan our career the way it was. Because we don't push those assignments and say, hey, I need this lieutenant colonel or this major medlog officer to be over here, or I need this HR officer to be over there. I think we had people that was in mentoring us, that knew our dynamics at times, and helped us throughout our career. But we did have some people that assist us, made sure that we did not spend too much time apart.
Hmm.
okay, well, this has been great. The time goes by really quickly. I want to say not only thank you for sharing your story with us. It's rare that you run into people in 2024 who have 12 children and can, manage it all. Not that it's perfect because nothing is, but, just kind of watching you all is inspiring and seeing how well your kids are doing and how well your marriage is doing. I want to say thank you for sharing that with all of us. And also, thank you, thank you, thank you for your service to this country. We probably need more people like you serving our country. And so, with that being said, I'm going to take you all off screen. I'm going to go into my what the hell segment, and then I'm going to end this live stream and get back to my vacation.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a pleasure.
So, let's get into what the hell. What the hell is going on with domestic violence? I know domestic violence goes back to the beginning of time. However, in 2024 or anytime recently, we as women should not be subjected to physical abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse. We should not be subjected to any type of abuse. And if you are a man, and I use that word loosely, and you are out there abusing a female, shame on you. If you are a female and you are out there abusing a man, shame on you. Adults are not anybody else's property. It is not your responsibility to control them. They are an adult and they can do and make whatever decisions they want. And the reason why they want to leave you is because you are abusive. So you need to ask yourself, what the hell am I doing that this woman or this man don't want to be with me anymore? You are being abusive. Abuse is never acceptable. So I say to you, if you are, at the minute they show any type of tendency to be abusive towards you, I say walk away then. Pay attention to the red flags. Don't ignore them, because we have all seen that video of P. Diddy beating on Cassie. And I will tell you, I was not only appalled, but I felt some kind of way for Cassie. Because if that's what he did to her on camera, imagine what the hell he did to her when the cameras wasn't rolling, or when nobody, we haven't seen it. And I promise you, it was not the first time, it wasn't the second time, it wasn't the 10th time that he did something to her like that. And not only did he do it to her, he did it to other women as well, and probably some men too, since he seemed to be bisexual. So ask yourself, if you are in an abusive relationship with anybody, ask yourself, what the hell are you staying for? And if you are abusing somebody, ask yourself, what is going on with me that I feel the need to control another human being to a point that I have to abuse them? And with that, I'm going to stop and say, what the hell? Have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining and participating in Let's Get Into It. I want to thank my special guest for being brave enough to get into it. Without you, these conversations cannot happen. Remember, different viewpoints, respect, and love are the foundations of Let's Get Into It. If there's a topic you think I should discuss, drop me a recommendation. If you're interested in being my special guest, let me know, because we can and will get into it. Have a great day on purpose, and I look forward to your continued engagement and support as we get into it.